Hi, third grade. Today we're going to create a self-portrait. With this self-portrait, we're going to continue to work on those positive thoughts and affirmations that we discuss in class that help us develop a growth mindset. With a growth mindset, our mind gets stronger. We're able to face challenges and know that in the end, we're to become stronger and progress, improve, and grow to the person that we want to be. So, using the positive thoughts and affirmation list that we had been given during class, we're going to use these. I want you to think of the ones that mean most to you because we're going to use it to fill the space around our portrait. So, right now, we're going to get started with our portrait. We're going to use paint, watercolor, and Sharpie to get this beautiful portrait done. It's an abstract portrait. And while we're doing this, I really want you to think about your self-talk and whether your self-talk is helping you develop that growth mindset or is it helping you develop a fixed mindset, okay? We're going to get started. I drew, this is me, right? So I have my very simple shape for my hair, my face, ears, and one eye, okay? I am going to demonstrate how to draw a boy version. But once again, you guys could do any kind of hairstyle you choose. You're not forced to do what I'm doing. Obviously, this is art. I want you to find your own way of expressing yourself. So, but we are going to start with the same basic steps. And the same basic step is a U shape, nice and big on this large piece of paper. Okay. The U shape should be right in the middle. So you could see that I have plenty of space on the top, plenty of space on the bottom, and it's somewhat in the middle. Not perfectly centered, but good enough, right? Then once we have our U shape, male or female, we're going to draw a hairline. Now you could see here that I drew my hairline almost like my hair is swooped behind my ears right here, right? This is how I wanted my hairline. But you guys could choose to draw your hairline however. If I'm drawing a male, I'm thinking of my son right now. So I'm just going to kind of draw what I think his hairline looks like. Remember to draw light until you get it right. In other words, press softly with your pencil. So if you need to erase, it won't become such a challenge. Okay. So you're going to draw that hairline first. Okay. That's the first step. The next step is to determine what type of line, and I have my line chart up, will create the texture or the illusion of the texture of hair that you want. Do you have spiky hair? Then you would do zigzag. If you have curly hair, you could do bumpy or loops. It's up to you. If you have very short hair, you could just connect the top of your two lines here to create a short hairstyle. I will demonstrate on the smartboard other options if you need it. But if you feel confident in what to do, then go ahead and draw the top of your hair. I'm going to go ahead and draw what I wanted to draw here. So I have a little bumpy line. I'll fix up my mistakes after. All right, so once you have your bumpy line and you have it the way you want, you're going to go in and right about a little bit around the midway point, you're going to draw one eye. Now, a lot of people have a tricky time drawing eyes, and often it looks like a circle, or it'll look too much like a football shape, right? So what I want you to do is start off with a little C right here, little C. And then you're going from the top of the C, you're going to draw a curved line. Now, don't make it too curved, slightly curved. And then the bottom, you're going to do the same thing, curved line, and you're going to connect it from the bottom of the C. There we go. So now we have something that looks more like a eye shape. So if you look closely, there's my little C, curved line, bottom of my C, another curved line. Inside of there, I'm just going to draw a big circle, then a smaller circle on the inside. Okay, that's all we're doing for the eye. If you choose to draw a few lashes, you can do that, but it's not required. Right next to the eye, on both sides, we're just going to draw a wavy line for an ear, just like that. All right, so at this point, I'm pretty much done with the pencil part of my drawing. I'm going to go in and trace it with a Sharpie and erase any mistakes that I've made so that all I have is a clean drawing that has been traced with Sharpie, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, my friends, so if you look carefully, I traced all of my work, I've erased all of my mistakes, I filled in the iris, the pupil of my eye here. Now I'm going to fill in the face and the ear with watercolor. Now, looking at the example, you will see that I used many different colors, and I filled this in as kind of like a whimsical, kind of like airy type of way. You guys could choose to fill this in any way. If you want to like do circular motions, if you want to do geometric or organic, or if you just want to color it in similar to me, you may do that. You can use any color you want except black, okay? Because black will be for the hair. So do not use any black. We're also only using watercolor for the face. So I'm going to go ahead and paint my face here, the face that I drew in the ears. Remember, with watercolor, the colors are dry. They're completely dry. In order for you to get the best out of your watercolor, you have to add a few drops of water and allow that color to kind of swirl with the water and wake up. You will also notice that a lot of my friends mixed our colors up. So in order for you to get that nice clean yellow, you're going to have to kind of keep adding water and swirling it and washing your paintbrush. Every time you mix a color, you have to make sure to wash your paintbrush. You can see how it's starting to get cleaner with the more water I add. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start painting. Like I said, you could decide. Maybe this one will just be overlapping circles until I fill in the whole space. Not quite sure yet. But I'm going to go for it, and I'll be right back to show you what it should look like when you're done with your watercolor. All right, my friends. So I want to demonstrate a couple of things, or I want to show you some things. Using watercolor is always tricky because it spreads out. This paper is not specific to watercolor, so it doesn't really help with the watercolor. It kind of goes right through. So you have to be careful not to add too much water to this paper because it will rip and it will wrinkle and it'll make it a little bit more difficult for you to paint. The other thing I want to mention is watercolor spreads, and you could see how in some areas it looks like it's spreading. So just be mindful. It's not going to look absolutely perfect, but this is abstract, and abstract is color, lines, and shapes. So as long as we see some shapes, some colors, some lines, and we're trying our best, that's all we want, okay? It will look beautiful at the end, I promise. So we're going to let this part dry. While this part is drying, I also want to show you this. You want to be careful not to splatter water outside of this area because it will stain your paper. We want this space around here to remain as clean as possible so that we could write our positive thoughts and affirmations. So this part right here is okay because we're going to paint all of this with black acrylic paint. So I have my paintbrush here. We know that black acrylic paint is permanent. You want to be careful not to drip this on your clothing or anywhere else on your art because it will ruin your art. So very carefully, taking a little bit at a time, you're going to go around and fill in only the part that is your hair and your hairline, okay? Being very careful to spread the paint very evenly because this is very thick paint. And it will take a while for it to dry if you just kind of glob it onto your paper. So you want to spread it out. Use the very edge of your brush, like I'm doing right here, and just be mindful of what you are doing. Don't try to rush. Take your time. If you need to take a minute to kind of breathe, do that in this process. I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so this is what it looks like once your hair has been painted with black acrylic paint. I stayed in my lines. You can see that my space still remains clean with the exception of my little wet spot right there. Now comes the more time-consuming part. It is important, my friends, that you are taking your time really reflecting on what positive thoughts and affirmations mean something to you. I don't want this to be just a time for you to fill up your paper with whatever. Look through the sheet. Which one speaks to you? What makes you feel good? What makes you feel like you have the ability to do something or to face challenges? And whatever it is, I want you to write it around your portrait. And we're going to fill up every little bit of this space, okay? Now, you could choose to go in a circular pattern. You could go vertically. You could go horizontally. It does not matter. It's your choice. For this one, I kind of went around. See, it's kind of like around. And I ended each statement with a period just to make sure that I could be able to read them afterwards. So think about how you want to write it and go for it. So I'm going to go ahead and start it horizontally, and I'm just going to write it across. And I'm going to pick several positive thoughts and affirmations, and I'm going to start writing them, and I'll show you what it will begin to look like. All right, so I started vertically. Here it is. This is what it looks like so far. Kind of started in the middle and wrapped it around the person, the portrait. I'm going to continue filling this up, and the very last thing I'm going to do is I am going to pick the number one, the most important affirmation that I feel speaks to me, or positive thought that's going to help me really establish a growth mindset, and I am going to write that above my eye. So for my self-portrait, it was, I am a warrior. That is the most important thought, positive thought, affirmation that I say to myself to help me develop a growth mindset. And I am going to write that right over my eye. So you're going to do that once you're done with all of your affirmations. And you could just write it here. And you could just wrap it around. However works, okay? Please try to be as neat as possible. Try to fill all of your space. You can see how I even went into those corners. And do your best to make this is an entire art piece. So your writing is part of the beautiful art. I want you to be intentional about what you're doing. I want you to really think about what is important, what words of affirmation are important, what it means to you as you're working. So take this time to really think and meditate on what we are working on. I hope you have fun, and I hope we are really working on that positive growth mindset.